Tonight I thought we would just chat and do a little housekeeping art. Here's a real ADHD thing. Actually, it's just a human thing, but if you're an ADHD person, you're probably more prone to this. The starting the projects but never finishing them, because when you start a brand new painting or a song or a whatever, you get all excited and it's fun and cool and there's like that dopamine thing that happens. But then, at some point it becomes work and it becomes tedious and you have to like push yourself to get through it. And when you're doing something like making a painting, it's so easy to just stop. I don't do this as often as you might think. I'm pretty good at getting my paintings done. I'm pretty good at not having more than like 2 or 3 things that aren't finished. It's really, really important to finish your work. It is so good mentally, financially, socially to finish the projects you start. We're just so conditioned to believe that nothing matters if you're not getting paid to do it. If you don't get paid to make your art is still important. You should still finish your work. It's called creative because you're creating something. You are bringing it into existence. And everything we create in this world has moments of being tedious, sort of a drag, and not fun. Nothing you create will ever be 100% fun. Things don't work that way. I was inspired by a really amazing artist named Paul Kenton there was kind of a viral short that went around of him painting this really beautiful, amazing painting of Times Square. And I was so taken by that. It was one of those kind of neurodivergent loop things I did. I've talked about this before, where I will see a short or an Instagram reel that feels kind of soothing to me in a way, and I will just watch it over and over and over again for maybe like an hour. I did that with Paul Kenton's painting, and I was really inspired. So this is my Wish.com version of that painting. This thing is like 90% done, I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm going to get into it and this thing's just going to take till 2 a.m. Comment below and tell me if this happens to you. For some reason, the closer things get to being finished, the harder it is for me to know what to do with them. I don't know. I guess things are just a little more open in the beginning of a project. I can't really paint and talk at the same time. Why did I just get out the black paint? I don't remember what I wanted to make black. Gray. I need gray. We're not off to a great start. Excuse me, I have to go make a pizza. Now see, that's too much orange right there. It's like I've never actually seen a building before. I've just kind of heard one described. Pizza is so good. Is it really safe to eat and paint at the same time? Probably not. Mind your own business. So what I wanted to talk about tonight because you know there's a topic. A phrase that people like to say sometimes that is meant to be really positive and encouraging, but generally isn't. It's not about having what you want, it's about wanting what you have. Now, there's a large kernel of truth in there. Happiness always happens in the moment. Like, the only time you can ever be happy is right now. And life is not about getting things and always trying to get somewhere else all the time. The easiest way to be happy is to appreciate the moment. I understand what they're saying there, but there is a subtle, gross toxicity to the way people use that expression. Do you ever notice whenever somebody says to you, it's really not about having what you want, it's about wanting what you have? Do you notice it always makes you feel kind of icky? It's because people only ever say that to you when you're experiencing frustration and disappointment. They think they're being helpful, but it's really just invalidating. Girl, it's okay to feel upset and frustrated about not getting what you want. It's okay to feel frustrated if things don't work out for you or you get just generally disappointed by something that happens in life. That's life. That's a normal human emotion. We don't have to hide from that. The other problem with that expression is that, have you noticed it doesn't actually work? You can't want what you have, because a want is by definition a thing you do not have. Wanting is the opposite of having. And you also, unfortunately, can't actually control your wants. Has anybody ever told you that before? You can't control what you want. And when I say that, I mean you can't control what you want in a given moment. A want is just something, like a desire is something that just kind of arises in us and as a response to external stimulus. We can't really control what we want in the moment. I do think in the long term, down the road, you can curb the wanting. But in the moment, you can't control what you want. You just want it. And that's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person to want something, even if it's ridiculous or rude or fundamentally bad. I'm not a bad parent if I want to tell my kid to shut up. What makes me a good or bad parent is my behavior. Now, the Buddhists will tell you that wanting, desire, is the whole problem. Like, desire in itself is the source of suffering, and that if we can simply eliminate our desires or just kind of ignore them, that's the key to happiness. And respectfully to the Buddhists, I like the idea of that. It sounds logical, and I try to practice it as much as I can, but it's not a practical way to live my life. I came here to do the thing. I came here to have a full human experience, good, bad, and indifferent, okay? Like, for me, having a happy, fulfilling life involves some doing, some being, and some having, some getting of the things. Like, I'm here to live in the world, you know what I'm saying? Yes, I could technically deny myself eating a cheeseburger every time I felt like it, just so the cheeseburger didn't control me, and that would give me a greater sense of peace because I wasn't being like pulled by this external thing outside of my control. In theory, that would work, but the truth is, there's not a prize that's being given out at the end of life to the person who ate the fewest cheeseburgers. I think sometimes giving in to desire is fine, but you don't want to make it your whole way of life. You can't control what you want, but you can control your behavior in response to what you want. So the real secret, I think, is not to try to like get rid of your wants or push them away, because you can't really get rid of them. But if you do not give in to them, eventually they lose your hold on them. Like, don't feed the beast. When you desire something, it's like the more you give into it, the bigger the desire becomes, which is not how we think it works. We think that like if we desire something, we go get the something that satiates our desire, but it never really does. Like if you have a desire to go eat McDonald's and you run out and you get McDonald's and it's great, it's so good, you love it, what happens? 3 days later, you have a craving for it again. And then you go eat it again. And then you go eat it again. And then you're in this habit of eating at McDonald's all the time and it's not even really that good anymore, but it's hard to stop. Don't let your wants control you or you'll literally never get anything done. Like if you feel like you don't have control of your days very much right now, I know this is a really common thing with me. I struggle with this and I know a lot of people who watch me do. You think you're gonna get all this stuff done, but nothing really happens and it stresses you out because you feel like you're not in control of your days. Practice not giving in to your wants so much. Practice deciding ahead of time. Make a list. You know, I love making lists. Practice deciding ahead of time what you're gonna do and get up and keep your commitment to doing that even if you don't feel like it. Because when your days are all about what you want to do, you just have to kind of hope and pray that you wake up and want the right things on the right days. Like you can't really control whether or not you feel like doing stuff. Sometimes you gotta do some stuff you don't feel like doing in order to be happy. Done. I feel good about this one. Oh wait, no, one more spot. I'm gonna call this one done. Next up we have this cutie. I actually already made a whole video about this. It's just got a couple elements that didn't quite get finished in time for the video. It's been hanging on my wall, but low-key it's not. It just needs a little more work. Just a little more effort to get it over the finish line. Come on, cat. You can be consistent. You start out strong and you can do this. You can follow through. Wow, my self-esteem just went up like 10 notches. It's just the little things sometimes. Like sometimes that's all it takes. Just because nobody wants to hire me and I'm gonna be alone for the rest of my life, you know, I still matter in the world. And the last thing we're gonna work on today isn't a painting, it's a white lady craft. It's this latch hook rug that I started 2 years ago. My daughter has been asking me to finish this because she wants to take it, hang it up on her wall. Are you old? Do you know what latch hook is? You have a hook and there's these little fibers and yeah, I'll show it to you. You'll see what it is. quality to developing yourself to be easily encouraged. I am very easily encouraged. It does not take much to get me going. Finish a project that maybe you stalled out on because it wasn't super fun or something anymore. Go dig out a project that you haven't looked at in a while. I bet it'll be a lot cooler to revisit it if you've been ignoring it for a long time. Trust me, you will feel great at the end.